Okay, let's try a new little angle view of the couch. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Laura, and here I'll talk about tech, career, lifestyle, and other general advice that I wish I knew earlier in my life. There are a lot of things in life that are described as being almost too good to be true, and this is one of those instances. Like many other CS students, technical interviews are definitely not where my strengths lie. After years of half-assed interviews and struggling with them, I finally caved and committed to trying out this course. The only caveat is that it was $1,500 and it didn't really work for me. So this is my experience going through the course and my reflections after the course. So this is marketed as a 6-week interview prep course to help you pass any interview and land your next job. There were great student testimonials, people seemed happy with it. I don't really want to badmouth this company, especially because there aren't any negative reviews about them online, and it's not like they scammed me or anything like that. I really just want to make this more as an informational video so you know what you're getting into if you're thinking about buying one of these interview prep courses. So on the surface, this course contains some supplemental material alongside the course itself. There are some data structures and algorithms briefers, so talking about arrays, strings, trees, and also there are some job tips as well, so a few guides about negotiating a salary and perfecting your LinkedIn. The course itself already expected some baseline knowledge, data structures, and algorithms, so it definitely wasn't something I would recommend for a freshman or sophomore who's just starting to get into computer science. These courses are more geared towards professionals in particular who already have a role in the tech industry, but I do think that some seniors, if they are committed enough, this could work for them. This was definitely not a data structures algorithms course, but really specifically an interview prep course. So they teach you how to solve through these leak code kind of questions, which I personally think are gimmicky themselves, but that's a topic for a different video. So I was reading this book by Jen Sincero called How to Be a Badass, or You Are a Badass. Yeah, that one. Overall, one of the tips that she really hammers in is if you're not succeeding in something and you've been doing it for a long time, consider investing money. Overall, I thought it was a good self-empowering book and a nice short read, but one of the chapters mentions that if you've been working on something for a really long time and you really just aren't breaking through, then maybe it's time to consider spending some money for self-improvement or just for your own good. This was also coming at a time where interviews were coming up and I felt really stressed about trying to study. So this came at a time when interviews were starting and I felt really stressed about trying to study, and I also really worried about never getting a job. I honestly don't even know how the initial email found itself into my inbox, but I got this promotion about a webinar that was talking about how to perfect the technical interview. So I attended, I eventually got sold on the product, and I was convinced that the $1,500 price tag meant that it came with the really valuable information. The class also really targeted exactly what I was struggling with, translating my thoughts from pseudocode or algorithm into actual presentable code, and in general coming up with those algorithms for problems that I had never seen before. I also want to note that a lot of times people equate expensive things with being very valuable things, and maybe this is one of those times where my brain kind of took over and said, well, if this thing is $1,500, then it must be really valuable. Once the course had begun, the information wasn't revolutionary or mind-blowing, but a lot of it was good review or a good reminder of what was important to study for these programming/leak code style questions. A lot of the course was self-directed, so you had a workbook for the week and a couple slides that covered the main topic that they wanted you to focus on for that week. The exercises were already pre-laid out for you, and you just had to push yourself to actually do those exercises. The support provided by the course overall was nice. There are a lot of course staff that are always responding, and there was also a group for students to ask and answer questions for each other, and this also included previous students who had taken the course before as well. The instructor also provided a live Q&A, but I didn't really attend these just because it didn't work too well with my schedule. In terms of content for the course, I thought that all of the information in the course could be publicly found online without needing to pay for the course. Really, I think a lot of the factors that come into the price deal with convenience and having all the information there for you, also giving you a guide. The course is broken down into manageable chunks, so for a 6-week course, each week was going to be a different topic. Like I mentioned earlier, the course did come with nice supplemental material, so negotiation tips, LinkedIn optimization, and covering a general review of interview topics. So let's talk about why this course really didn't work for me. There were a couple other things going on in my life. I had just moved, I was starting a new internship, and I was also starting school again. While these certainly aren't the most difficult tasks to get done, it did feel like it hindered my own motivation to get working on another additional thing to tack onto my list. There was also a huge lack of personal motivation. This is when I was starting to do interviews for product management and getting more into product management, so I was more focused on nailing those interviews. I felt like I already had enough of a background in technical interviews, and so I didn't need to dedicate as much time to this course. I think the big nail in the coffin though for me was that I didn't commit it as a habit. The whole idea of the course is that you set aside 30 minutes to an hour just to start working on that day's activities, and because I didn't do that consistently, I wasn't seeing great results from the course. I also think I was initially skeptical of the course, and maybe I just felt disappointed and I expected more out of it rather than just giving me more exercises to do and feel overwhelmed on a day-to-day basis. So I also want to attribute some of my skepticism to why I felt more disappointed and maybe why I didn't stick to the course as much. So even after I had completed the course for about 3 weeks, I started to fall back onto bad habits in my interviews. After this, I was kind of just thinking I needed to try something entirely different for me, and one that was actually personalized for my own needs and schedule. In the end, I refunded the course after those 3 weeks because they had a generous refund policy, and I just didn't really think it was a valuable use of my time and money. Now, another important part I want to bring up is if I would recommend this course or a course similar to this for other people. It really comes down to your situation and what kind of person you are. For some people, I know that spending money can be a huge pain and actually cause them to really commit to something, which I think is kind of the idea that the book Jensen Sierra wrote was going for. However, I just really don't think that was the right motivation for me at that point in time. Another question to ask yourself is, do you already struggle with interviewing itself and you feel like you have a really strong CS background? If so, a course like this may be helpful, but again, I think that there's a lot of other resources online to help structure the way you learn. If you're already currently practicing for interviews, I would highly recommend you stay away from courses like these. If you're already practicing for interviews and you've done interviews in the past, chances are that this course isn't going to teach you anything revolutionary, just like it didn't really teach anything revolutionary for me. However, in the worst case, if you do decide to try out a course like me, please make sure that the course is refundable, and so the worst case is that after you try it out, you can actually refund that course if it doesn't work out for you. I've made a lot of other money mistakes in the past, so I really wanted to be careful here and make sure that this course was not going to be a money sink and not work out for me. So as for some of my concluding thoughts here, I can definitely see this course being potentially helpful for some people if they are really committed to interview preparation and just need something a little bit extra to help push them forward in their preparation techniques. Really, this course is just a how to leak code course, and there are plenty of companies that don't actually ask you to leak code, and really there are plenty of companies that don't ask you leak code style questions, so tunnel visioning too much on this course can actually detract from your overall preparation for a lot of other interviews. On the plus side, this course does introduce you to a method to help practice interviewing. This can be helpful if you struggle with organization and finding problems to help suit your studies. Another reason why I think this course was so appealing is that they do a really good job of advertising the course. Psychologically, they explain that this course is only a drop in the bucket if it helps you land your next job and internship, but the initial cost of $1,500 is a lot of money. That trade-off may or may not be worth it to you, and so it's entirely up to you if you want to pursue a course like this. This has just been my experience, and on the whole, I wouldn't recommend this course for the majority of people. I really enjoyed doing this storytime-esque video. Hopefully, I'll be able to do more of them in the future. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to this channel for more weekly uploads at Friday, 9 a.m. PST, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.